This is a 73 850 Norton I've had for 30 years. I've ridden it quite a bit back in the day, and the last 6 or 7 years it's been pulled apart and I just haven't got around to doing anything with it. And then I bought this Norvil electric start kit for it and recently just fitted that. And after rebuilding the motor, I got an oil pressure problem with, I think the crank's a bit dicky, but anyway, that's another story. You can see the CV carburetor in there as well, and there's the starter motor, the mound there on the primary, and the starter motor in the back. It's actually that outer cover. I had a different belt drive in it for 6,000 or 7,000 miles, and it's a good thing. A couple of bloody drains out of your bathroom there, and for the vents. Used to be all black once, all the wheels were black, the guards were black, all powder coated, because when I picked up the basket it was really bad and rusty, pretty shitty. You can see I've got a valve in the line. There's the starter body and everything in there. There's the choke, or the enrichener lever or pull button. Makes a little bit of noise, but it is a ring gear, and if you listen to your car, when it's firing up on a ring gear starter, you'll appreciate that two gears flashing together in the open like this is, being an open primary, well, they make a little bit of noise. So that doesn't worry me at all. You can see when I've got a valve in it, like I did down there, the oil pressure's there. I don't take any chances with having valves in line unless I've got an oil gauge. But generally speaking, she's a nice little bike. I've been riding it a little bit, even though the oil pressure drops off a fair bit when it's hot. She's only running around 30 pound on the highway, and a little bit less. I'll shut her off with the valve. Quite a bit less at idle. She's barely getting 5 or 10 pound. I've had it apart, I've changed the oil pump and the timing cover, and I never did pressure test the crank. This is something I've got to pull it apart and do again. Anyway, so it runs a little digital Payzon, and you know, I like my solo seats, and this has a pair of hard bags that normally bolt on there. They're a Conti replica mufflers, those things. Overall, it's been a good little bike, but I've still got oil pressure problems, and that's okay. I've got a 6-pot Takiko on the front at the moment, but I'm going to go back to a 4-pot. I prefer, it's not really as good as it could be, and then again there's a lot of reasons why it isn't. The disc is a bit shite and everything else. Caliper itself mightn't be quite as good as it could be. But generally speaking, this thing's being geared with a 23 on the gearbox. It is lazy cruisy. Yet that 40mm CFM, that 40mm CV carb in there, just when it's out in the road and, you know, running around 2500 RPM and you roll it on, it just responds and talks to you. Jeez, it's good, you know. So running 60-70 mile an hour is nothing to it, you know. I mean, 850 Nortons, torquey big buggers, and that CV single carb seems to help it out a lot, you know. So plus they're very economical. They're a great combination to have in there, the CV. But anyway, with this starter motor, when I first go to put the kit in, you've got to change the whole cradle for the gearbox. Change the gearbox in. It's a single hole on the top, and it's more like an electric start cradle. There was problems with this with the way it was welded. The tube was welded in for the isoelastics up the top there, and they weren't cleared good enough. And the starter, I bolted that in, and that would tip. It caused this nose here. This is an alloy body that goes over the starter and over the high gear out of the gearbox to give it some, and it bolts down in here with 2 bolts. Well, it would cock that slightly and jam up, so I had a problem there. I had to relieve more material out of there. I had to elongate the hole for the stud through here to that stud there, elongate the hole in the cradle to get it to set up. When they drilled this cover, they drilled it half a hole out up here and didn't even put a hole in the bottom. And then on the stator, I actually had to clamp the stator in the vise right close to the hole and open the hole out about 30 thou with a drill, which you can do, but you've got to clamp the bloody laminations up nice and tight. And then I was able to get me air gap, which you need on your stator. But other than that, there was no problems. And as you can see, it's firing off all right. It just took a little bit of putzing around to get it right, to be honest. A little bit disappointing, because there's a fair bit of work. You've got to pull this everything out, the back out of the motor, out of the bike, and change all your isoelectric across. And it has a decent swing arm combination. The pin, it's a late model pin with a couple of cotter pins like your electric starts are, so that's a good deal with a new pin in the kit. But just the bodging around, buggerising around with some of the things I had to do. So if you ever to buy one of these things from Norvil in England, which is their deal, and I'm not sure of his name now, is it Gareth? I think it's Gareth. I'd talk to him and just say I'd like one of those, but have you sorted out the problems that Brian had? Because I had a few issues, and this is one of the first kits, and that might explain why I had a few issues, because it's probably not sorted as good as it could have been. But still, now it's fine. So, but initially it was a pain in the bloody arse, you know. So have a chat with Gareth if you're going to do it. It's a few bob too. I'll let you get the shock when you ask him. Well, you'll see it advertised anyway, so if you go onto the Norvil site. But it's either that, the Alton, and there's the one out of Colorado, which is, they both have sprag clutches in them, and I wanted one that had a ring gear. You know, even though it's a bit noisy, it can be run dry, and you know, you've only got ring gear issues to worry about and not sprag clutches and all this sort of shit. Not that there should be any problem, because most motorbikes nowadays have sprags in them for the starter system, so it's just that I wanted that old school ring gear thing. But it's available, so if you've got a bad knee like I do, then this is one way to go. So it'll cost you a couple of bucks, but I'd rather have this now running, you know, running like it does, than go out and buy a new bike, which I don't want. So, and you'd lose. This thing costs $6,000, and when you buy it, $6,000 Australian, that is. I don't know where if you're watching it from overseas, but $6,000 Australian to get, and it, you know, you buy a new bike off the floor at 20, you're going to lose that $6,000 in less than 18 months. So what the hell, if you want to keep your Norton, this is one way to do it. So, because they can be a bit of a bear to start, the old big Nortons. But gee, the 850s have got some torque. They just lap it up. So do I. It's a hoot to ride. Anyway, thanks for watching.